If you're looking to lower your scores on the golf course, then you'll already know that the quality of your short game shots will play a huge role in terms of what that final score really looks like. Yet I frequently witness golfers wasting shots around the green, trying shots that are too high tariff for the situation or shots that they're not capable of hitting, instead of learning the true basics to this shot that will ultimately give you the solution to 90% of your short game shots around the green. Statistically, the poorer golfer you are, the more of these short game shots you're going to have. So it really makes sense to learn this basic motion as early as possible to start bringing your scores down. And yet the highest handicappers are the ones who make the biggest mistakes in regards to contact with this shot. They top the ball, they hit the ground before the ball. And in both those instances, what they're not capable of doing is managing the radius of the swing, the arc upon which this club head swings in the backswing and the follow through. That's really what the best golfers are doing. And for chipping, the easiest way to think about the radius would be to visualize how this trail arm and the shaft have this small angle between them at setup. And to establish consistent contact, I'm going to teach you today how to move these arms and the body and the wrists in sync to be able to control that radius, control that contact, and improve your short game shots immediately. The basic setup for this shot is very simple. You're going to have your heels one club head width apart, your toes turned out slightly, so they might be 1, 2, 3 club head widths apart, and the ball's going to be in the center of your stance. From this down the line view, you're also going to stand closer to the golf ball than you would do for a stock shot, maybe 1, 2, 3 club head widths away from the golf ball. And the closer we get to the golf ball, the easier it is to manage the direction of the shot, helps us take some of the power out of the shot as well, and it ultimately helps us with the contact. So that's the basic setup from the front view and down the line. And when we look at the shaft from this front view, even though the ball's in the center, we're going to set up with a tiny bit of shaft lean. That means the hands or the handle of the golf club is a little bit ahead of the club head, creating this angled shaft, very slight angled shaft against my trail arm. I have this angled radius. So I've got the right arm, the right forearm at one angle and the shaft coming out at another. And what I'd like you to think about as you swing is keeping that relationship fairly constant or stable. That's going to mean that you swing back, keeping the same relationship between the trail arm and the shaft. Coming back to impact, we're going to try to return the same amount. And as we keep moving into the follow through, we're also going to keep holding on to that same relationship. Learning this basic movement helps to control the width of the radius, meaning the contact becomes more consistent, and it trains you immediately to start using your body and your arms and the club together. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see made with this shot is people scared of hitting the ball too far, freeze their body motion and just start using their hands and their arms. And when they do that, the radius breaks down very quickly. And without any doubt, my favorite chipping drill, bar none, is the trail hand or trail arm only chipping drill. So for me, this is my right hand. I'm going to take my grip, take my setup. I'm going to take my left hand off the club, and just rest it on my right arm, up by my bicep. And I'm just going to feel like there's a little bit of pressure here. I'm just holding my right upper arm against my chest. There's a little bit of pressure there. Now the club's resting on the ground, and I'm going to start swinging this club, and in doing so I'm forced to start using my body and pivoting with my legs, my hips, my torso on both sides of the swing, and at the same time I'm able to maintain the relationship here between the trail arm and the shaft. We're going to keep that angle. So that's my one arm or right arm only feel. I would encourage you to do this to begin with, just brushing the grass, just as I am right now. Getting that feedback of striking the ground in the right place, moving the body and the arm and the club together. And when you get a sense of that and you get some good feedback in terms of contact with the ground, you can go ahead and hit one. That was really nicely struck. I often joke that I chip better one-handed than I do two-handed. I should probably try this on the course. The feeling I get here is some real freedom of the club head, just letting it swing. And at the same time, I get a good sense of the rotation and the sequencing of my body and arms together, which I don't necessarily get with two hands. The weight of the club in one hand forces my body to be more active, and I begin to get this nice sequencing and synchronization that you don't always get if you're using two hands. And if you're looking for a great training device to help you feel this wrist bend and this radius management, then the Precision Impact Wrist Trainer is a great way for you to get this. I know many of you already have this device when I've featured it in previous videos for the full swing, but it actually works really well for the short game. This feeling here of keeping my wrist and my arm in a stable condition, a little bit of trail wrist bend in the backswing where the mechanism is just going to lock in place. And now that bend that I was talking about, that angle between the arm and the hand and the shaft is set. And so now from that position, I can put both hands back on the club and I can just keep turning through the ball using my pivot to manage the speed of this swing. The wrists and the arms are managing the radius, so the arc is stable. It's much easier to make perfect contact every time when you're able to keep this wrist condition constant and then use the body as the mechanism to pivot through the shot. I was perfectly struck. I was really able to manage the bottom of the swing there, hit the ball exactly as I wanted to, and get plenty of height on this shot. It's another thing that I think many of you get wrong is you think you have to be fancy with your shots around the green, incorporating wide stances, crazy ball positions, and lots of wrist hinge. The truth is you don't. This basic shot can be used for multiple clubs, and just changing the club or changing the loft will help you to change the trajectory of your ball. If you already have one of these training aids, make sure you switch out the finger straps for the short game version, which are much firmer and have less give in them than the full swing. It really is going to keep that wrist and arm set in position, even on this slow speed swing, to allow you to manage the radius and ultimately, as I say, manage the contact perfectly. Yeah, I wish I could play with this thing on. It really feels almost impossible to get wrong. Once you learn this feeling as a new golfer or even as an established golfer, once you get the sense of what this is supposed to feel like, it's relatively easy to transfer because this chipping swing is slow. You're not trying to hit the ball hard. And unlike many of the full swing changes, which prove more difficult to do because you're adding in lots of power and lots of speed, the fact that this happens, as I say, at low speed allows you to transfer that newfound feeling of that radius management and incorporate it into your short game shots on the course immediately. And just to show you how this can be used with other clubs, I've gone from my lob wedge there, which is my 58-degree wedge, to more of my pitching wedge at 46 degrees. I'm going to do exactly the same setup, exactly the same swing, and this ball's just going to come out much lower. Until such time as you can master this basic shot, you really shouldn't be trying all of those exotic shots around the green with lots of wrist hinge, those fancy flop shots that you see. Get good at a stable, structured stock shot that's going to save you tons of shots around the green. So there's some useful information about how to learn this stock chip shot from around the green that, as I say, can be used with multiple clubs to produce multiple trajectories that will take care of more than 90% of the situations that you currently find yourself in. Stop trying to be Phil Mickelson and hit those fancy shots around the green, and instead play the percentage, learn to hit this basic shot time after time and watch your scores tumble. If you'd like to learn more about the Precision Impact Training Aid and how it can help your game, I'll leave the link down in the description to their website. There's also a discount code you can use to save $20 off this product should you choose to invest in one. I've done many other videos using the Precision Impact, and there's huge benefits that it can have across your entire game. If you feel like you've already mastered this basic shot and you're ready for some more sophistication and detail to add to your short game repertoire, then why don't you check out this video that I made right here, which talks about how to change the trajectory from low to mid to high with some very simple setup and in-swing adjustments.